is Oromo Voice Radio English program. Oromo Voice Radio is broadcasting to Oromia at 16-meter band or 17,850 kilohertz or on oromovoice.org website. OVR broadcasts Oromia Insight program every Monday for 15 minutes at 7:15 p.m. Oromia local time. Welcome to Oromia Insight program.
Welcome to Oromia Insight. My name is Ali Galeto. This is part 2 interview with Professor Assafa Jalata about Oromo protest assessment and its impact.
That are in line with the democratic tradition, their democratic tradition. Overall, all Oromo who lost hope in their national struggle have restored their dreams of liberation, freedom, and democracy. Furthermore, peoples like the Sidama, Hadia, Beneshangul, Anuak, Ugaden Somalis, even some Amaras can ally with the Oromo people to dismantle Tigrian colonialism and the fascist minority regime of the TPLF. These are great psychological, ideological, and diplomatic victories for the Oromo national movement. All these victories are achieved by Oromo blood in the suffering. Until now, more than 500 Oromos have been massacred, and thousands of Oromo have been imprisoned, kicked, beaten, tortured, decapitated. In fact, at this time, we don't have enough data on the killings, imprisonment, and other crimes against the Oromo people. So you can see that the Oromo protest movement have achieved a lot of things.
How Oromo protest will stop and who will stop it?
Again, another interesting question. The Tigray-led minority regime is trying to crush the Oromo struggle by using state terrorism and fascistic tactics. The regime uses its army known as Agazi, the federal police, security network, the local police, and the militia for beating, castrating, torturing, imprisoning, and killing Oromo from all walks of life. It kills small children less than 10 years old just because they are Oromo. It murders pregnant women and shows their corpses or dead bodies to the public. In addition to breaking and entering houses to rob Oromo economic resources, the military forces people to pay money to collect their dead relatives. The Tigrayan army also buries young Oromo alive in mass graves at night. Thousands of Oromo families do not know the whereabouts of their children. The main political strategy of this fascist regime is using state terrorism. It assumes that the Oromo people could be stopped from their protest struggle through state terrorism and genocidal massacre. The reality is that these barbaric and fascistic acts have been increasing the determination of the Oromo people to achieve their political and other objectives. The Tigrayan fascist regime and its domestic and global supporters are trying to stop the Oromo protest movement through brutal force and fascistic tactics. I never doubt that the regime and its supporters will continue to engage in state terrorism and genocide. Currently, the regime is intensifying this genocidal massacre on the Oromo. It also capturing and transporting thousands of Oromo into various concentration camps. The regime's security network particularly identifying intelligent Oromo students and other leaders and destroying them by killing them in the attempt to make the Oromo people leaderless so that they can be easily controlled by the Tigrayans. Identifying and systematically massacring actual and potential young Oromo leaders is tantamount to genocide. The Oromo must intensify their national struggle at all levels, particularly by consolidating their clandestine political network and organization. The Oromo activists and protesters in Oromia must do this. The Oromo protesters must also cut the umbilical cord that links the Oromo people to their enemy by any means necessary. The Oromo must stop doing businesses with the enemy through different tactics. They should stop paying taxes to the terrorist regime that kills their children and dispossesses their land and other economic resources. If the Oromo people are determined to continue their struggle in order to save themselves from total destruction, they should continue to intensify their national and democratic struggle by any means necessary. They should diversify their strategies and the tactics of their struggle depending on their specific circumstances.
What is the role of Oromo diaspora and how do you assess their performance so far?
The main role of the Oromo diaspora is to support the struggle of their people morally, ideologically, financially, diplomatically, by organizing themselves on local, regional, national, and global levels in different countries. Most elements of Oromo diaspora are angry to the Tigray-led Ethiopian government because this government is expropriating Oromo land and displacing and impoverishing their people in the name of the so-called development. Development means, in this context, impoverishing and destroying the Oromo people while enriching Tigrayan elites and building Tigrayan society militarily, politically, intellectually, and economically. When the Oromo people have peacefully opposed such policies, the regime is using brutal force and engaging in genocide. When Oromo school children, pregnant women, and elderly people are killed, the Oromo diaspora are emotionally and psychologically disturbed and they start to react. To react one way or the other. They have started to engage in a series of demonstrations in different countries to expose the crimes of the regime against the Oromo people. They have also started to contribute money to help Oromo victims of Tigrayan fascism. Are these activities enough? They are not enough. The Oromo diaspora must build their power by building their civic institutions in different countries and on global level. They should stop wasting their time and energies in the meaningless politics of liberating the Oromo people by a remote control. Since the real battle is in Oromia, we in diaspora must focus on three major areas to support our suffering and the struggling people. First, we must build strong institutions. Second, we must financially support our struggling people. Third, we must intensify diplomatic struggles, raise funds, and prepare legal strategies for taking to the International Criminal Court those criminals who are committing crimes against our people. So these are not little things, but the Oromo diaspora have to do a lot of things in the future.
What are do and don't for Oromo back in Oromia and Oromo diaspora at this time?
This is a very difficult question and I will try my best to answer it. The Oromo in Oromia have no choice except to intensify their bitter struggle. If they hesitate or cheated by the Tigrayan government and their OPDO servants, they can be totally destroyed. Their fate could be like Native Americans and the indigenous Australians. The survival of the Oromo people depends on their commitment to intensify their struggle by diverse strategies and tactics in order to dismantle Tigrayan colonialism and its political structures in Oromia. The Tigrayan fascists have no humanity and morality, and for maintaining their political and economic power and the privilege, they can do everything they can. The Oromo people must use diverse tactics depending on the given conditions. This struggle can be protracted for a long time, and thousands of Oromo people can be killed or imprisoned or displaced. Even if the Oromo stop to struggle, they are going to continuously face state terrorism, genocide, and gross human rights violations because the Tigrayan colonialists and their supporters want to take the lands of the Oromo and other resources to enrich themselves. So it is better to bitterly fight and liberate themselves rather than gradually disappearing from their beloved and beautiful country that we call Oromia. Learning from the past, the Oromo and diaspora should stop to be politically naive and dormant. They should increase their political consciousness by learning about their national history and the culture and the global politics. They should always remember that they are in diaspora because of the Oromo national struggle for which millions of Oromo heroes and heroines sacrificed their precious lives. Consequently, I consider the Oromo diaspora as public diplomats who were sent to the world to work on behalf of the stateless Oromo nation. Ethiopian colonialism has disconnected the Oromo nation from the world community and buried it for more than a century. Thanks to the Oromo national struggle that enabled to overcome these obstacles, obstacles and to join the international community by fleeing or running away from Ethiopian state terrorism. Unfortunately, there have been a few elements of the Oromo diaspora who joined the enemy for material benefits or for lack of political consciousness and morality, or just for opportunism. The Oromo diaspora must stop these mercenaries from destroying our people by educating them or by other possible means such as isolating and discrediting them.
What is the position of United Nations, African Union, and the USA on Oromo protests?
As you know, the United Nations is an organization of states which is controlled by big powers such as the USA, England, France, and China. All of these countries, particularly the United States and England, and global institutions, the global institutions they dominate, such as the World Bank and International Monetary Fund, are financing the Tigray-led Ethiopian state and indirectly contributing to state terrorism and gross human rights violations of the Oromo, while theoretically claiming to promote democracy and human rights. So their main agenda is to promote their own interest. They have less interest, these big powers have less interest in promoting democracy and human rights. These powerful governments and their institutions only give lip service to human rights protection and the principle of national self-determination. But if the Oromo struggle is further intensified and destabilize the Ethiopian empire, they will be forced to change their current political position. Therefore, the struggle of the Oromo people is a determining factor in influencing the position of these global powers and their financial institutions. What practically matters in the capitalist world system is to have organizational capacity in order to engage, in order to change conditions on the ground. The ongoing Oromo protest movement has taught us that the world only listens to the Oromo when they take practical political actions to change their deplorable conditions. The African Union is a lifeless organization of the corrupt and dictatorial African states. It is a tool of big powers to dominate, control, and exploit Africa. Most African neo-colonial states that are members of this organization have no internal legitimacy from their countries, and their legitimacy comes from big powers in the international system that maintains their existence. Despite the fact its headquarters is located in the heart of Oromia, Finfinne, I doubt even if members of the AAU know the geographic location of this African organization. Members of the AAU may not also know about the Oromo and their struggle. It is disappointing that the AAU does not have leaders who are capable of solving African problems such as that of the Oromo. The Oromo protest movement must build its social and political infrastructures that must be transformed into organizational capacity to destabilize the political economy of Ethiopia. Oromo activist network that coordinate the activities of all sectors of the Oromo society have already won ideological and political victories by undermining the legitimacy of the Tigray-led Ethiopian government and its puppet organization. The regime only survives by engaging in state terrorism, genocide, and gross human rights violations. The more the regime engages in the crimes against humanity, the more it loses its global legitimacy. Eventually, this will cause economic crisis and the political instability which facilitates the regime's final collapse.
Who is Oromo leader at the moment if the international community would like to meet?
At this moment, it seems that the Oromo protest movement has networks of leadership that reflect the Oromo democratic tradition. These networks of leadership have emerged under very dangerous conditions.
This interview will continue next week.